To the independent 89.9 HD4, part of the Jacksonville music experience. We're playing the best new music from innovative artists not typically championed by commercial radio. Well, Jax-based singer-songwriter Cory Driscoll writes tunes based around a theme in order to create an entire body of work. It's called an album, kids. Driscoll's been in several musical projects over the years, but his first record under his given name, 2018's Tropical Depression, was filled with earnest indie folk tunes chronicling an anxious period between the landfalls of Hurricanes Matthew and Irma, each song building more sonic and metaphorical layers. Driscoll's got a new record, Eureka Springs, on which he, backed by a group of 9 other musicians, tells the story of 2 simultaneous journeys. The physical one is a father and daughter road trip from Northeast Florida to the American heartland, while the emotional one tracks the dissolution of a relationship. Driscoll is here in the studio with me to talk about the new record. Hi, Cory. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
Now, before we unpack the overarching theme of this record, I want to start with the album opener, Ahead of My Heels. This starts the journey that takes place across the 9 songs on the album. Tell me about Ahead of My Heels and how it sets the stage both sonically and metaphorically.
I wrote Ahead of My Heels first of these songs, and it sounded to me the most like Tropical Depression, the record prior. And I guess, I was sort of still in this tropical or tropicalia folk sort of, space, and I wanted to get out of that.
You like a synchronized swim team. I am a long distance runner.
And so, really, just literally was looking at going, well, what other landscapes might I, garner a sound from? And that sort of gave way to the rest of the record developing and that the theme developing.
We roll hard, not so apart, like 2 sparks passing the dark.
Ahead of My Heels starts really, on the coast, and the idea of the record is that we are moving ever closer to the center, to the heart of the country throughout the record after that.
And Eureka Springs' 4th track is called All Great Love, the first single you released from the record. And this seems to be where the narrator's placed emotionally somewhere on the spectrum of like accountability, forgiveness, progress, kind of this middle ground. But it's about an ending, really, but not necessarily a sad song, right?
Yeah, that was really the goal, was to try to, again, kind of this, if you stumble across something that feels new in a song, just that notion of like, love or the feeling of being in love. So many songs are written sort of about, we were in the same place at the same time. We met each other there.
A fire's always in half-life, and the last not alike the first time.
And I sort of wanted to write a celebratory song of the last time we ever met eye to eye, that sort of, that idea was enough for, let's think about how to celebrate an end. And it being in the middle of the record, and at the kind of the beginning of, I would call the meditative section that comes after that, I really wanted to be sort of like the last time I was really addressing that same person or the same relationship in the record.
On both Tropical Depression and now with Eureka Springs, you've managed to craft these albums of songs around seemingly short periods in your life. And I want to know how you're drawing up enough detail from these events to make the music. What's the process like? Are you keeping journals? Do you see a hypnotist to pull this stuff out of you?
Certainly it's a journal keeping thing. I mean, just even phrases that other people say, increasingly like, you just sort of stay attuned to what, an interesting phrase or something that, even films or, just watched Drive My Car recently, it's not in English, but at the same time I'm sort of jotting things down about, that I learned from that. But yeah, so little phrases here and there. And then as far as the experiential themes of the record is so much like a lived thing. I mean, Eureka Springs, I literally went there with no other knowledge of the place other than that it was sort of became a tourist destination, a health tourist destination, because miracles occurred there. Sort of building out two different ways of looking at it. There's a linear, maybe historical narrative that I want to tell, with text, or English text, and then there's a musical narrative, and that sort of helps to pull those things together.
I want to be chosen.
Well, Eureka Springs is out now on all streaming platforms. If you missed any of this interview, you can find the audio on jacksmusic.org. We have several cuts from Eureka Springs in rotation on the independent 89.9 HD4. Cory Driscoll, congrats on the new record, and thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
I want to be chosen.